It's time for another Tackle HD Fishing Report. Today, professional angler Casey Scanlon has your latest look at Lake of the Ozarks.
Hey everyone, Casey Scanlon here with another Tackle HD Fishing Report. It's the beginning of November and the water temp's still in the 60s. You know, I had 62 to 63 degrees in a lot of places today on my Garmin electronics, and that's still pretty warm for November. But we're supposed to get some cooler weather this weekend. Temps are going to drop into the low 20s, the teens. So it's going to start getting cold. So these fish are going to really start feeding up. There's a lot of bait fish activity. A lot of those fish and the bait fish are still back in the creeks. So they're back there roaming on the flats, and their location could change day to day or even throughout the day. So they're going to those shad are kind of going to move in and move out. But a lot of bigger shad are starting to show up closer to the bank. And that's what those big fish are feeding on in preparation for the winter for the most part. So the bite's gonna really start picking up as we get some colder weather. I know I've been saying that for a couple months now, but you know, that's just the case. When this temperature drops into the 50s, water temperature anyways, drops into the 50s, those fish are really gonna start triggering to feed up. You know, it's gonna cause them to realize that winter's coming and they need to feed up in preparation for that long winter that we're going to get. So fishing should start picking up every day. But right now, there's been a few baits that are going to be real successful right now and in the next month or so. So I'll go through some of those. Right now, my number one bait, and especially as the water temp drops just a little bit, you know, when you get in the mid upper 50s, even low 50s, the spinnerbait is my favorite choice. So you can cover a variety of depth ranges with this. Look for the shad and look for the cover. So I'm gonna throw this, you know, behind boat docks. I'm gonna throw it around laydowns, bluffy areas, channel banks, secondary points, you know, anywhere with cover. And you can even drop this right in the middle of the bait fish. So if you see bait fish swimming around, you can throw this out through them, let it sink down a little bit and just reel it steady through them. And a lot of times that'll trigger a bite from those fish that are feeding on those bait fish that you're actually seeing with your eyes. So the spinnerbait, the Trophy Bass Company, Ozark Flash, 1/2 ounce, 3/4. Those are my two favorite sizes for this time of year on Lake of the Ozarks. Another bait that, you know, has been good and it's going to continue to produce some bites, especially some bigger bites, is the Tackle HD Buzzer. This is the worldwide buzzer, James's buzzbait, 3/8 ounce, 1/2 ounce. I like a black one, black with gold blade, black with black blade, doesn't really matter. Throw it up there on the bank and cover some water. These fish are, you know, really spread out, so keep the trolling motor on high and just cover a lot of water. You know, any kind of target like a laydown, concrete dock support, cables behind the docks, stumps, big rocks, those are all great targets. Seawalls, anywhere with some depth. You know, the water's pretty shallow right now, so a lot of good cover is kind of out of the water. So, you know, just be on the lookout for some dark objects underneath the surface and anything kind of laying off the bank. Those are always good things to throw that buzzbait around. But just get on a bank, get around some boat docks, throw it behind the boat docks and just cover a lot of ground. And that can produce some big bites. And look for the shad too. You know, you want to look for shad activity, whether you're on the creeks or on the main lake. Look for those big gizzard shad, look for the thread fins in the areas you're fishing, and you know, you should have some luck. Another bait that's going to continue to get better, I haven't thrown it a ton, but I've been catching a few fish on it, is the Tackle HD Crankhead. This is just a great little bait. It dives 10 to 12 feet, and as the water temperature drops a little bit, this is going to produce all the way into the low 40s. You know, it's a great little crankbait when it gets cold, and the fish here in the Ozarks love crawdads. They love feeding on them all year long, and that crawdad bite is going to start turning on as it gets colder, and that's a great bait to replicate a crawdad. Cover some water as well. You can pick a windy bank, you know, bluffs, channel banks, secondary points, primary points, anywhere that wind's kind of blowing into, crank that thing around and cover some water. You're gonna get some bites. So I've got that on 12-pound line. I've got it on a 7-foot medium heavy action Hemdahl jerkbait rod. You want something with a little bit of tip for those treble hook baits, whether you're throwing a jerkbait or a crankbait, something that's gonna help keep them pegged. While we're talking about jerkbaits, Caught a few on it today, and always a cold water killer. So the Tackle HD Fiddlesticks, one of my favorite jerkbaits. It casts really well in the wind. Windy days are going to be kind of the key, but anymore, you got to have a jerkbait on all year long. I'm using my Garmin Live Scope. I was out there watching some fish today, chasing some bait fish, and threw the fiddlestick in front of them, caught them. You can fish that around the corners of boat docks as well for some fish that are suspended. There's still a lot of fish out there around boat docks, whether you're talking shallow docks or deeper docks. There's a lot of fish utilizing the docks and the brush piles around them. And that's a great way to target some of those deeper docks and some of the brush, and keep that bait over the top of the brush and bring some of those fish out of it. So the fiddlesticks and the jerkbait's going to work all the way through the winter. So that bite's starting to pick up, and it's always fun to catch them on. You can catch a lot of quantity on it as well as quality. So one of my favorite baits to throw all year round. And the jig. We've been talking about the jig a lot lately. This is my Trophy Bass Company Pro Jig, 1/2 ounce, 5/8 ounce, even a 3/4. There's still a lot of fish out deep. Not all these fish have hit the bank. So target the docks with them. Look for shad back in the creeks. Fish those shallower docks. I like to choose ones that are have a lot of shade. Have some cover underneath them, like brush piles, some kind of structure to help hold those fish. But you want to focus on the shad. Brush has been good. You can throw that in brush piles here at the lake all year long and be around some fish. So dock cables have also been good. A lot of fish suspending on crossbars, things like that. So the jig can do it all for you. You can fish any depth range with it. And it does well on this lake. So that's always a staple in my tackle box. These fish are feeding on shad. So whether you want to throw a single swim bait or you want to throw 5 swim baits on an Alabama rig, both will work. If you're throwing a single swim bait, I'm going to recommend just a Hayabusa 1/4 ounce jig head. It has a real sturdy hook on it. And we're going to throw the Tackle HD Swimmer here. It's a great little bait. I like the 3.5 and the 4-inch. That iridescent shad color is really good. White is another one of my favorites. And this will produce on the back of an Alabama rig or just that single jig head, whatever you want to throw. That Alabama rig bite, as it gets colder, just like the jerkbait and the crankbait, it's going to start picking up. So the bite here at the Ozarks, starting to get good, still a little bit stingy, but look forward to the fishing really picking up and these fish putting on the feed for the winter, and you're going to start catching some really big fish. So until next time, good luck out there, and we'll see you on the water.